This video tutorial is a brief introduction to biotechnology. The name biotechnology was first coined by Mr. Iriki in 1919. He was a Hungarian agricultural engineer who set up a huge industrial farming unit. He used the term to describe any technological process that made use of living organisms or parts of living organisms to manufacture useful products or provide useful services. This included the domestication of animals, planting of crops, the mechanization of agricultural processes, as well as selective breeding. Biotechnology has been used for a very long time. In fact, the oldest documentation or example of biotechnology is for the production of beer or ale some 7,000 years ago. More recent examples come from World War I and World War II. So, for example, in World War I, the bacterium Colostrum was used to produce acetone, which was needed to make many explosives during World War I. And then the manufacture of penicillin from the fungus Penicillium was really important during World War II. Now, these examples and others shifted the emphasis of biotechnology away from food and towards the manufacture of drugs. However, the new science of DNA technology has brought biotechnology to its current position. Our increasing understanding of genetics and genetic engineering, along with the ability to manipulate the living conditions of living organisms, has led to a huge expansion in biotechnology. The biggest expansion is the use of microorganisms in industrial processes. There are four main areas in which microorganisms are used in biotechnology. The first is in food. So various different microorganisms are used for the production of beer and wine, for bread, for yogurts, for cheese, for soy sauce, for example, soya products. A second major use of microorganisms in biotechnology is in the pharmaceutical industry for the production of drugs such as penicillin, antibiotics, insulin. A third major area in which microorganisms are used in biotechnology are enzymes, so to make biological washing powders, as well as to extract juice from fruits, to digest sugar, to make food sweeter, to tenderize meats, various different uses of microbes there. And then there are lots of other examples as well. So, for example, the use of a certain fungus in sort of citric acid, which is a food preservative. Now, the list of advantages and disadvantages of using microorganisms in biotechnology is extensive. Now, some of the advantages of using microbes include the fact that they're really cheap and easy to grow. In most cases, the production processes can take place at lower temperatures than would be required if you were doing sort of chemical engineering. The production process tends to take place at normal atmospheric pressures, which is safer than using chemical reactions that require really high pressure. The production processes are not climate dependent, so can take place anywhere in the world, providing, of course, there are the resources to build and run the suitable equipment. The microbes can be fed byproducts from other food industries, such as starch and wastewater, and they tend to have really short life cycles and produce really quite quickly. So lots of advantages of using microbes in biotechnology. But microorganisms are not the only organism used in biotechnology. Genetically modified mammals, such as sheep, goats, and cows, can be used to produce really useful proteins. So in some mammals, the proteins are incorporated into the milk and can be easily harvested. For example, goats that have been genetically modified to possess the gene for spider silk secrete it in their milk. In other cases, the protein may be secreted into the blood. For example, cows have been genetically modified to synthesize human antibodies, which can be isolated from their blood. In recent years, the term biotechnology has come to mean using organisms in productive processes. However, biotechnology also encompasses gene technology, genetic modification and gene therapy, selective breeding, cloning by embryo splitting, and micropropagation, the use of enzymes in industrial processes, as well as immunology.